Greetings, 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 greetings. Okay, it's coming in the mic. Greetings, and thank you for tuning in. This is Adam Rafferty, and in this series of lessons, I'm going to show you how I play my solo guitar arrangement of the classic song, Autumn Leaves. In this little intro video, I've got some notes. I'm gonna read off my cheat sheet, and so here we go. All right. I just looked on Wikipedia for your info. It was written in 1945, the song Autumn Leaves, originally called Les Feuilles Mortes, literally the dead leaves, with music by Hungarian-French composer Joseph Kozma and lyrics by poet Jacques Prévert. So I did not know that. You can maybe you can win some money on Jeopardy now that you know that. But the recordings of it that have inspired me the most are by sort of jazz and pop artists. I'm going to my inspiration came from, on Autumn Leaves, Nat King Cole, Bill Evans, Miles Davis, and most recently Eva Cassidy, who doesn't really do it like jazz, but she does a beautiful ballad version of it. Okay, so let's get to the guitar arrangement. I would love it if you familiarize yourself with the song a little bit first. You know, if you have this melody in your mind clearly, and even if you look at the changes, the chord changes a little bit, that would really help be a nice, simple background knowledge to the sort of complexity of this arrangement, because what feels simple to me is, of course, not going to be simple for people seeing it the first time, and you might be one of those people. So familiarize yourself with the sound of the song itself, please, 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 if you haven't already. Okay, now in the tabs, in the help file, I've written some 4-note chords, or I've written big chords where you fret the 4th string, but if you look over here on the right hand, you may only play the top 3 strings and the 5th string. But of course, for example, on a B7 chord, that would be an insurance policy, that if you crash into it, it sounds good. If I only showed you the notes I played in the tabs, you might not fret that, and it might give some sonorities. So most of the time it's thumb and 3 fingers on the chords. I'll specify if it's not. So you're going to fret with your left hand, but maybe not necessarily play everything with your right hand. Okay, so I'm going to throw a couple different ideas about chord substitutions and arrangement stuff at you. This is not all cast in stone. There's a little bit of wiggle room because I'm never really sure of my interpretation. So I'll show you the creative sources that I draw on so you can sort of mix and match and select what feels best for you. Okay? That's it. Now, the last thing, before I really say that's it, the next video, I'm going to show you a cascading harmonic technique that I do on the intro. And this is a super specialized technique, which, you know, I'm not as fast and fluid as some guys at it, and girls, but I do it on the intro. Please don't get hung up on this. It is totally the cherry on top of the sundae, so to speak. So I'm going to show you how I do that. But if you're feeling like you want to skip past that, the cascading harmonics intro, you can go right to the Rubato intro video, which should be not the next one, but the one after the next one. Alrighty, so let's get started learning Autumn Leaves. All right. Alrighty, so here we are at the Cascading Harmonics video, and this is the intro to the intro, so to speak. Now, you may have noticed in several of these videos, I don't use a thumb pick. And in the last instructional video, I use a flat pick. So between those three, these three ways of playing, bare fingers, thumb pick, and maybe a flat pick, I can't decide which way I like best. So, but for these cascading harmonics, I definitely suggest a thumb pick, although it's not necessary. You could, for example, play it with the thumb pick and then take the thumb pick off for the rest of the arrangement, or you could leave it on the whole time. Up to you. Please experiment. No two of us are built alike in terms of guitar skills and comfort. So do a little exploration, and you don't need to do it exactly how I do it. Now, you'll notice here, just for the purposes of showing you the correct right hand technique, I've put a capo on. We do not need a capo for this arrangement, okay? This is just to show you the right hand technique. Let's say we want to do a note that's a harmonic above the 5th fret. Well, we've got to go 12 frets up. So with the index finger, we're going to go directly over the fret on the 17th fret. And when I say directly over the fret, it's like here's the metal, and the fingertip literally hovers, it touches the string above the metal, not the space in between the two metal frets, but above the fret, where the fret would be making contact with the string. And so point your index finger, so the tip of your index finger is pointing there. And then with the thumb or thumb pick, oops, I'm doing it at the wrong fret. Okay, there we go. See that? I was over the 19th fret by mistake. Okay, and hopefully you should get a harmonic, and you're going to have to practice this. I'm going to have to practice it. So if we go across all the strings, it would sound like this. See that? So instead of doing the harmonics like this, we're using the tip of the right index finger to touch the string but not push it down directly above the metal. Now you could do this with a bare thumb. It won't sound quite as sharp an attack. Or a thumbnail. So it's a little easier on the lower strings, but then it gets tricky up top. So it's doable. It's all about what you develop. So now the next step, and I saw this, as many of us have seen it from Tommy Emmanuel, but I believe he got this idea from Lenny Breau. And another guy who's really good at this is Joe Robinson, the young whiz-bang player, another Australian. What are they putting in the water there? Anyhow, with your ring finger, you can, like, let's say we're playing the harmonic on the G string, right? If you have a position with this hand where you put your ring finger, your A finger, on the high E string, and you go first the harmonic and then pluck the open string, so like this. See that? Now, if we were to go down the strings, like every 2-string group, not adjacent strings, so the 3rd string, then the 1st string, then we're going to do the 4th string and the 2nd string, then the 5th string and the 3rd string, 6th string, 4th string. So there's always 1 string space. So we're going to just try to leave the fingers where they are and move. And your fingers may look a little different from mine with this. Please don't try to visually copy my hand position. Find the comfortable way for you to go. Okay. So now here we go. See that? And now watch. When we go up, we'll do string, then skip 2 strings. So it's really like we're just doing this motion backwards. And for me, I don't sit and practice this technique a lot, but it takes, I would say, half an hour, 45 minutes of practicing this so that it starts to, the muscles start to loosen up, things start to warm up. I don't have to think about it quite so much. Now, since we have the capo, we're moving the right hand up and down in a straight line. Okay. Now, another thing that you can do to get into it from an even lower note, so the sweep up sounds very big. This is kind of a cool trick. Again, got it from Tommy Emmanuel. With your, I do this with index, middle, and ring finger. I start a run by going on the lowest strings. You see, I place them and then start that. So watch. Now, one of the things that's I find kind of tricky is if you do this at too low a fret, the thumb pick starts banging into the fretboard. This is fifth, but you can do it, of course. It's all a matter of practice and getting the spacing right. But I don't go much past the 5th fret. Now, you might wonder why the capo. So let's take the capo off. One of the things that's very tricky now, if you do it with a finger and you practice it for a long time, you've got to stay clamping down on the first finger. Which for me now is not a problem, but if you're learning this right hand thing for the very first time, I say give your left hand a break. Don't sit there and hold it for hours like this, because you will feel it. Okay, so do this in small stages, practicing this. Now my action is very low, and I've also really worked on, if you look at the basic techniques here on Study with Adam, there's a barring technique where if you watch the left-hand camera now, you make your finger perfectly dead straight. There can't be any curve, because then notes won't get pressed down here. You got to get that perfectly straight. And then with your bicep, you can tell because I have enormous biceps, you pull back like this. You sort of, with your whole body weight, lean back. See, look, I will exaggerate and put my thumb out front, and I'm pulling back with my bicep, and watch this. Thumb is still out here, so you can see I'm not squeezing. That's not always possible, but that muscle can really help. I got that from classical guitar. That was one of the things that I learned as a young guy, and that's really helped me. Okay, so now what I'm going to give you in the help file, rather than writing some very confusing looking arpeggios, I'm simply going to give you the left hand shape. And you're going to fill in, based on what I now show you, you're going to fill in the right hand activity. So the first shape is a bar at the 7th fret and those notes. Now, what's going to happen over here, by the way, is the index finger is going to have to follow, is going to have to follow the frets you're in. You're actually going to have to see which frets you need to go to. So that'll become second nature. Your index, you'll start to make the connection the more you practice this. So what's going to happen, and we're going to go through the whole Cascade Harmonics, is these chords. Watch. Then you're going to move the pinky down. Leave everything, then you're going to move that D string down. So it's there, then you're going to... And then you're going to go to that, and you're going to get the 3rd finger in the 8th fret. I believe that's it. At the end, we're going to have this. Okay. So now, let's do it with the arpeggios. I usually start with the high E string and then the B string coming down from the top. Okay. Now I do the following figure 3 or 4 times. feel like doing it 4 times today. Watch this, just the top 4 strings. Okay, so 4 times that would sound like this. Done it 4 times. Ooh, my hand's starting to feel it. Now we're going to bring that pinky down, and the first finger over here is going to adjust on the D string. All right. Now we're going to let go of that pinky over here, go to the second finger. Next, we're going to switch to the second finger. And then after the third or fourth time, then 4 will be the springboard, let's say. Did you catch that? 1. I try to razzle up and down that chord as many times as I can. Maybe 3 or 4 times. And then to the end, after I pluck one of the the G string, I'll go. I'll make it up to the high note, this note 1 time, and then now that last chord, and maybe I'll razzle up and down that a couple times. And I'll make sure that I end on a bing. I think that's how I end. Yep, that's how I end. So you see the structure, this is rubato, meaning it's out of time and it ebbs and flows. And so the structure is just based on the chord shapes and sort of the idea of how to get into it and how to get out of it. So this is the intro to the intro. I'll play it for you once straight through. Okay, here we go. Okay. There was one little thing that I left out when I go. I try to get. That's where I try to do the switch. So it sounds like ba 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 when I switch to the last chord. See, and then I'm into the E minor chord. That's usually my pivot point. Now, there's a slightly different way that you could get into it if you don't want to come to it from the high note. I like the high note quite a lot, but you could also start the intro from a low note. Sometimes I'll do something like, and I'll just let that sit. It's sort of like I'm just putting a low piano chord and then starting from the intro on the high notes. One more time. And then I'm in. Then I usually do 1, actually 2 times them on each of those. Okay. That's that. And already, like, I'm feeling, the strength in the hand. It shouldn't be thought of as strength, but like my left hand's tired. So I would listen to that instinct right now, for example, and say, I'm going to give that part of the song a rest. You want to make sure that your strings are low, that your strings are easy to push down, and please don't overdo it on that bar, okay? So if you want to practice just the technique all by itself, where's that darn capo? Where's that confounded capo? You can put it on any fret. So here it is on the 7th, and you can just do right hand. So that you're not wearing your left hand out. All right, let's go on to the rubato intro, where we're going to play the chord changes in the melody to the bridge of the song, or the B section, I should say, out of time. All right, let's do it. All righty, so we've now done the cascading harmonic thing, which I call the intro to the intro. And now comes the real intro. It's the B section rubato, which we can think of it as out of time, but there's more to rubato than that, and I don't want to get all intellectual and everything. I'm going to go through this section rather quickly. I just want you to put your fingers, I want you to follow my fingers as best as you can. Again, if you're familiar with the song, that will help. This B section is going to come back several times throughout the song. So if you can't play it by the end of this lesson, just keep going. Okay, don't worry about having it mastered. Just play through it with me, and then we will let's keep going. Okay, so here we go. We've ended with the cascading thing, and on this B, that's usually the last note. Then I pick it up with an open B. So that's kind of a nice transition, you see. But since you went away. Let me show you how I do that. Open B. Slide up with the second finger from the 3rd fret. Pull off. 2 and 4, 2, 1. And then open E. So I'm doing this over here with the right hand with my middle finger, and the A finger is there. You don't have to do it this way. The A finger's prepared on the 1st string because it's easier than swiping at the string. And if you're not doing the cascading intro, you can just start your version of the arrangement like that. Next, but since you went away. So I like to do this extra macho F sharp minor 7 flat 5. It looks like an A minor chord with the pinky on top and then the thumb over the top. Now if that is uncomfortable, don't worry about that. Do 1 note less, just do. And the melody is bum, bum, bum. So we're going to go. Okay, so I'm doing the F sharp, minor 7 flat 5, then open B, then B7. You can, over here, you can arpeggiate, you can strum, you can feel free to color this as you want. Now for rubato, I actually did that one kind of slow. I suggest actually scrunching melody notes together. Don't actually go slower. Do something like this, phrasing-wise. Ba 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 ba. See how I just sang through that faster? Blah ba 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 wi da da. And then there's time left over to let the phrase breathe. So don't just go slow and then hang on that way too long. That's not rubato. Rubato means we're robbing the time. So we're robbing time out of here that we're going to have left over. So watch. Listen to the phrasing. Could have been better. That's the best I've done it so far. See? Now we have extra time. Okay? That's the idea of rubato. Next, third finger, fourth fret. We're going to do some passing chords on ba, 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 ba. So, okay, those are passing chords. It's not really important what they are. We could have just as easily done, but this adds a little more color. Okay. Now what I like to do here is hang on the E minor, take my first finger off, and do something where that's moving up on the inner voice on the B string. See? Next, we're on an E7 sharp 9 chord. You're gonna get those ready, and low E string. Slide up, pinky, third finger, second finger, all in the 5th fret, and I mute the E string over here with my thumb. I just barely touch it so it doesn't ring, and then so I strum it where I have the open B string in the chord. Then the melody is, right? Then I play that again, and I literally slide up to the 7th fret, taking the second finger off, and my fingers are already on the right strings, and I play this chord, which is like a D with an E added here on the G string. Then I'm going to bring it, pinky stays on the high E string. 2, 3, 4. What's kind of nice is we're getting some inner voice leading, and then it transfers to over there. I like to break that chord up somehow and arpeggiate it so that we could hear the notes moving on the inside. I wouldn't play those as blocks. Okay, so far we've got doing 2, 3, 4, second, third, and fourth string as harmonics. Those notes actually voice lead perfectly, and then this frees our left hand up, so we're going to grab a counter bass line. You can do a scale up like that. Or you can do a different bass line, which we will see later in the piece. G, D, and watch, while I'm holding the C, sorry, I haven't told you this, I'm doing the 12th fret, top 3 strings harmonic. Or, okay, next, come down with your third finger to the 5th fret. Let me show you that move. Slide to the 7th. 4, 3, 1, nice and quick. First finger. Now, bar. This is supposed to be ba, 'cause I've missed you most of all. Right? Bar the top 4, second finger, third finger. chord, let it ring, play the melody, missed you most of. Now go to the 2nd fret. You're going to bar not all the strings, but like the 5 strings, and the notes are going to be pinky, 3rd, 2nd, and the 3rd fret. And I'm going to grab that chord, and then a B7, because I missed you most of all. Okay, so that's. Okay, now I deviate from the melody. Go to D on the 10th fret, C on the 8th fret, and now I like to slide up to this one. I didn't write this in. So now watch here what we're going to do. Here's the idea. This is sort of an E minor 7 chord, but it has a more acoustic sound, acoustic guitar sound, if I keep an open string in there. This E is optional. You don't have to do that. You can just do it. All right? Actually, it's more correct without it. Now, open A. We're switching to an A7 chord. Okay, and then just play 1 harmonic there for now, because I'd like to go through this all one more time, because I'm it from there. Got it? Now watch what we're going to do. We're going to come down some very strange harmonic and fretted note combinations. This makes a very nice sounding G7 chord. Watch this. High E string, high B string on the 12th fret. Now fret the 13th fret, 15th fret. I know that's a very bizarre sound. It's a G13 flat 9 is the name of that. So we're going to have you can hear it a little bit better when it's fast, when they're close to each other. Okay. Next, 3rd fret. Those autumn leaves start to fall. I do a little ornament starting on the D. Let me do that one more time. Slide. And I'm just doing pull off 6th fret, 5th fret, 4th fret. Again, and then open string after that. Okay. Those are, you're going to bar at the 5th fret. But put the 2nd finger down here. We're going to do another Cascade harmonic. Once you get to the high A, we're just going to do straight harmonics on these notes. So, once again, that's the index middle ring on the lowest strings. Once we get that far, okay, I'll show you an alternate to this. Then 12th fret harmonic, slide pinky up to the 7th fret. I like that slide there. I'm doing what, putting my thumb over the top. This is my particular version of it. Then another Cascade. Once I hit the D string, I just do artificial harmonics all the way. And this top string is the open E string, but I'm doing the harmonic at the 19th fret. Okay. If you don't want to do this with the artificial harmonics, let me see if I can think of something for you. you can just do those autumn leaves start to... That's the simple way. C, B, D. Okay? Going back to my way with the artificial harmonics, this is those autumn leaves. Now, here's kind of a nifty way to come down that big E minor chord. Watch. 5th fret, G string. 7th fret, 2nd string. 12th fret, 12th fret. Hear that? And now we're going to do it again an octave down. It's going to be that same 4-note thing, except we start. So 3 times we're going ba, 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 ba. We're doing that 3 times coming down in octaves. All together it sounds like this. We're ending on an F there, and then I put those down, making an F7 flat 5 chord, and then that's an E minor 6 with a 9. Okay? I'll play my version. So if you want to avoid all that, it's perfectly fine, because remember, this is a custom build for my hands and my technique. So if you're, let's say you go, you can start with there, and then and you've still played a beautiful rubato intro, even with that ending. So by all means, you know, I tell many of you this in your private lessons, and I also have to tell it to myself as a reminder. Modify, modify, modify. I have certain strong points in my technique. I have certain weak points. And believe me, I got a lot of weak points. So take what I'm doing, take the idea, make it your own. Don't go crazy trying to do the exact things that my hands can do. Take the ball and run with it if you can do it, okay? And if you need to find a workaround, find a workaround, because the audience isn't testing you to see if you can do what Adam does with harmonics. The people just want to hear the beautiful intro to Autumn Leaves. So simplify if you need to, and just get the intro as a whole to flow. Okay, going to do it one more time for you. The intro. Or And then we're going to go to the next lesson where we play the tune with a groove. All righty. All righty. Let's get started on the actual performance of the grooving part of the tune. Now, I've had a couple of different interpretations of this that I have messed with. And the original YouTube version that I did, I had more the idea of a French chanson. Now, I'm not an expert in French music, but I imagined being in a French restaurant with somebody playing an accordion and maybe a woman singing this. I sort of went for that kind of interpretation a little bit more than a jazz interpretation. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to approach this A section. Bum, 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 bum. So this is what I call the French version. And for those of you who live in France or have anything to do with French or French people, I hope I'm not offending you. This is just my imagination, the French version. Okay, so here we go. It's going to be sort of a walking bass line feeling of sorts, but a little bit more like blum, 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 like a steady quarter note pulse. So the first chord shapes that I do are like a G shape with open strings, right? And then, so the bass line's going, that's the main thing, and the top is going, so. Okay. So then we're going to go up to A minor, slide, you're at the 8th fret, bar the 5th fret here, and the open 5th string. With me so far? Then it looks like a C7 chord, but it's at the 3rd fret. So it's actually D7. We're going to hit the chord in between as a syncopation. Then a sneaky little A7 chord with one finger. Down to a D7 with 2, 3, and 4. Then I slide up. I'm playing 7th fret, open B, D, and G. Let's do that much so far, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I leave the pinky down and I'll brush with my first finger or whatever fingers I can get, and I go to a D flat 7 chord. Try not to strike the 4th string. Okay, so it's window, then down to a C chord. So I do 2 C's in the bass, and then I grab with the 3rd finger the top 3 strings, and I do that much. Now I'm going to make this video a little bit shorter. Those are the first 4 bars of the French version. Now, the important thing here, one of the important things is how do we come in with the melody, choosing the rhythm. And for this version, I've chosen this rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Bang, 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 bang. Okay? Because you're going to see in a different interpretation that might change a little bit. So let me play this for you once up to the stopping point that we just did. One more time, slowly. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. that's what we got so far. Alrighty, let's go to the next video where I show you bars 5 through 8 of the French version. All right. Okay, so we are back. We're still in the A section with this sort of French kind of sound. We stopped off here. Okay, so we're going to do this bass note twice. Then we're going to move the bass note down to C while we hold the chord. Now B7. Now bar, 2nd fret. If you can do it. Instead of a B7, that's an F7 chord. Okay. And then I like to actually slide to with an open E. Then, so I'm playing the E minor chord, 2 E's in the bass, a B7 chord, and then I go bum, bum, bum. Let's do this bars 5 through 8 of this section one more time. I'll go nice and slow for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's check out the full A section with the material from the last video and the material now from this video, how it should sound, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Okay, so that is the sound of this A section. What I'm going to do in the next couple of videos, I've sort of stopped playing this interpretation, but it's good to have in my back pocket. I've done something a little bit more like what the pianist Bill Evans might do, where I approach it with a little bit more interest in the bass. So here we go. Let's go to the next video and I'll show you an alternate interpretation. All right.